Hello YouTube, Andrew Marlowe here. Thanks for stopping by for my third video. Super excited. Thanks for watching and subscribing. I'm going to be doing a quick review of the Battle of the Five Armies, the new Hobbit film. I went to see it last night with a buddy of mine. Had a good time hanging out at the theaters and all that good stuff. But I'm probably just going to give the movie one thumbs up and one thumbs down, possibly two thumbs down. I just wasn't really that impressed. Going back into the past of the Peter Jackson films, I really enjoyed the Fellowship of the Ring. And parts of the Two Towers were okay, but by the time Peter Jackson got to the Return of the King, the whole Tolkien films had been, totally blown out of proportion. Especially when they got to the Hobbit. I went back when I saw the one in 2013, I think it was. They've gone totally overboard with the special effects. It's almost like I feel like I'm watching a green screen the entire time. The acting is not as good as it could be. They're focusing too much on like little goofy stuff on the side. The fight scenes are just so like overwhelming and big. Like it's just you can't even understand what's going on. Going back to the Hobbit film that I saw last night, it just did not. From what I remember about the Hobbit book, it did not. None of the films really followed very loyally, the way that J.R.R. Tolkien wrote it. Now, talking about J.R.R. Tolkien is a totally different situation. He was a genius. And when I read his books, the way he wrote his words and everything, the way he phrased everything, like, my mind was so free to, just endless possibilities. My imagination ran wild, and I had everything worked out kind of in my mind. And when I started watching the Peter Jackson films, I think that's when things started to go bad, and became disinterested in the Lord of the Rings, because Peter Jackson, I think he's trying to make too much money. He's putting too much money into the films, and he's focusing on the wrong things. I mean, if you go back to the early, I don't remember when they were made, but the old cartoon versions of The Hobbit and the Fellowship and the Lord of the Rings, I really loved those. Those have a special place in my heart. I don't know if you remember them, but Bilbo Baggins was played by Orson Bean. Had a really good concept. It was very loyal to the book. But I think the Peter Jackson films have gone way too haywire. They're trying to add too much stuff, too much special effects. But on the positive side, it has some really good actors in it. Some of the fight scenes were cool, and the soundtrack is really beautiful. You can't go wrong with the soundtrack. And also the scenes that took place in the Shire, with Bilbo and Gandalf and all the Hobbit holes, those are beautiful. I really love the way Peter Jackson did the scenes for the Shire. But everything else he pretty much got wrong, in my opinion at least. So hopefully Peter Jackson's going to make any more films inspired by J.R.R. Tolkien. I hope we can try to knock this chip off his shoulder a little bit, because he's obviously focusing way too much on the money and not the actual story. I think maybe I think they need to maybe redo this and make another version of The Hobbit, focusing more on the scenery, the acting, and the actual book, the way that J.R.R. Tolkien wrote it, not the way that Peter Jackson wants it. So that's just a little quick review. Please leave your thoughts and comments about J.R.R. Tolkien, Peter Jackson, and the Hobbit films, and let me know what you thought of the movie if you've got a chance to see it. Thank you so much for watching.